Okay, so today we're going to be looking at some different types of alternate views that Inventor can create for you. So the major ones are going to be a section view. Now you've done a few of those. It's used to show a cutaway view of your part, but we haven't done everything that you can do with section views yet. So we'll take a little bit closer look at those. We'll also be talking about auxiliary views, which are used to show features that are on an inclined surface. You've seen an example of this with the parametric modeling part that had the holes in it, where you had the view that showed the holes straight on. And the final one is the detail view. Some of you used this before, but it's used to show a zoomed in version of a part so you can show a specific area a little closer. So the first one is a section view. And so what the section view does is it creates a cutaway view, almost like you cut the part in half. And so on Inventor, they're going to show you a couple of different options here, a couple of different things they're going to show you that it's a section view. The first is going to be a cutting plane line, and that's what this right here is. And this shows you where the section view is actually cut along. And then the arrows point towards which direction you're seeing. So if you look at this cutting plane line, the arrows point down. Up here on the section view, that's the direction you're looking. And so it's like we were going to cut this right here along this line and look straight at it facing those arrows. On the section view, you're going to see some crosshatch lines here, and those are called section lines. And that just shows that that material is cut away. Those are going to be pretty thin. Inventor will do that for you automatically, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Now, there's three types of section views: full sections, half sections, and offset sections. You've probably done full sections and half sections at least partially, but let's take a look at each of those in a little bit closer detail. So I'm going to switch over to Inventor here. So here we have the Automoblocks windshield. All of you have made this at some point. So as an example of a full section, in Inventor, I click on the section view once I have my main view down. Next, I'm going to have to click on the object that I want to section. And then I'm just going to, from one side, click on one side of it, drag a straight line through to the other side, click again, right click, hit continue, and then I can move my section view wherever I want it. So you can see right there, I've got that section view created. And just like in the example on the PowerPoint, you've got your section or your cutting plane line shown there to show you what order or what direction you're actually looking at and where you're cutting it along. So that's a full section. We've cut clear through the part. Pretty straightforward. The second type of section view we have is a half section. And a half section is used for symmetric parts where we cut partially through, but we still want to see the outside of it. So again, we're going to create a section view. We click on the view that we want to select. And this time, instead of going all the way through, we're going to go to the middle and then come out on the front. Now, when I right click and hit continue this time, you'll see that I get this part this kind of corner I cut out, and I can see the inside, but the part I didn't cut out, I can still see the outside. Now, almost all of you did this on the train smokestack. That's what this is. So you've seen this before, but that's called a half section. So far we talked about a full section. Cutting plane line is going to pass the whole way through the part. It's like cutting it directly in half. And we've talked about a half section only for symmetrical parts, and only a quarter of it is cut away, even though it's called a half section. The cutting plane line only goes halfway through the part. So there's another example of a half section. This is a similar part where it's got a hole through the middle we might want to see, and there's different levels on the outside. Now, the final type is an offset section. And an offset section, let me get to that really quick. An offset section allows you to draw your cutting plane line through the part in multiple different places at once. So even though you're not going to cut it in one straight line, you can see multiple features in one section view. Now, this is pretty useful on a part like this where there's a couple of different holes and a slot that you might want to see. So as an example of that, let's take a look at the parametric part that you made in the last activity. To do a section view with an offset section, all I do is I still click on the section. I'm still going to select my part. But this time, you see how that infers that? If I hold it over that point, I can drag it out to that side and kind of keep it level. So let's say I want to go through that slot. Then I want to go up, make it level with that hole. You see that dashed line? That means it's level with that hole. and then I want to come out. Now when I do that and make my section view, you can see that this part right here is the slot, and this part right here is the hole. So I can make a section line that goes through multiple different features. Now this part's not all that interesting in the section view, but if these different features were different depths or different things going on there, they might be a little bit more useful than that. But that's just to kind of show you how to make a section view that shows an offset section. Now, the next thing is an auxiliary view. And this is going to be a projection of an inclined plane or an angled surface. And they use the word foreshortened. And the problem with that, whenever you look at an object that is slanted, when you look at it straight on, the objects don't look like they should. So these are supposed to be circles, but they look like ovals because we're looking at them not straight on. None of these views show those circles the way they should be, even though I have the top, front, and the right view as normal. So to fix this, we are going to use an auxiliary view. And an auxiliary view, what that does is it projects one of your surfaces and it shows that view straight on. Now this is a little bit tricky to do in Inventor, but it's not too bad. So again, we've got our top, front, and right views. We're going to click on auxiliary. Again, we click on the view we want first of all. And now we have to click on the line or the edge that we want to project from. And so I want to click on this slanted edge, and it's going to let me pull that part off. And now you see that those circles actually show the correct view. They show that view as a circle. That would be the view that I would want to put a dimension in, the view that actually shows them as circles. Because if I tried to put it up here, it tells me the diameter, but that doesn't really look like a circle. And so it's not really the way we want to do it. We always want to dimension a circle straight on. So an auxiliary view is a great way to do that. Now, the last one's the pretty basic one. It's the detailed view. Now, a detailed view is just an enlargement of a small part of the feature. It's just so we can see a little bit of detail that we couldn't see otherwise. So if you look at the example here, we've got these teeth on this gear, and we want to see a little bit more. We don't want to be able to put our dimensions down inside of here. So we're going to do a detailed view, and that's what this little arrow here is. And that detail shows up here a lot bigger so that we can dimension those teeth a lot more accurately. So for an example of how to do that in Inventor, I have the connector from the Automate Blocks part. Now there's lots of little details in this little thumb, like the thumb hole that we can't really see and we can't really dimension because it's just too small in the standard view. So to do that, under our main tab, we're going to click on Detail. Again, we click on which view we want. Now we're going to basically draw a circle. So I'm going to click on the center of my circle. Then I get to set how big the circle is. And then I can move it over to wherever I want. Now, right now, this is set as a 6:1 view. That was what it was defaulting to. But I can go back and I can edit it. And if I don't want it as 6:1, I can make it bigger, maybe 10:1. And it'll make it even bigger. So now I can dimension those thumb holes or that thumbprint thing. I can dimension that a lot more accurately. So those are your types of different views. You're going to have a handout that has all of those different views on it. But you can always come back and look at this video or look at this PowerPoint if you want to see how to do each of those in Inventor. And they're all right up here. You've got your auxiliary view there, section view, and detail view. Those are the ones you're going to be working on right now. So those parts, follow the handout. You're going to be turning in those drawing files on Google Drive. And those are due, hopefully, by the end of the day on Friday. So I'll see you next week.